A day following the announcement by Akila Byron that she has resigned from the People's Labour Party, the PLP, Nubian Grayo, who ran as a candidate in St. Christopher II for the party, has also resigned. In a letter dated March 25th, Mr. Grayo cited, quote, a general deterioration of values of the party and eradication of democracy, end quote, as his reason for resigning. In a further damning statement, Mr. Grayo said the current leadership of the People's Labour Party does not respect the core values of the party. He said, it is rather unfortunate that as a party, we contend to engage in a level of disrespect and disregard of which I want no part of, end quote. He did not elaborate further. He said he would continue to work in the constituency as a community leader. The PLP on Saturday issued a press release in the aftermath of Ms. Byron's resignation, thanking her for her service to the party and the country. The PLP said it remains anchored to its mission of improving the quality of life for people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and in this regard will continue to enjoy the support of the people of St. Christopher No. 3, West Bastille, to build the constituency and its communities even stronger and better. Following Mr. Grayo's resignation letter, another press release was sent by the party announcing plans to host its annual national convention on June 27th. The release said the national executive members of the party met to discuss the way forward for the holding of its annual national convention. It said the national executive recognized that the term of all the executive members except that of national party leader and deputy national party leader expires on Monday, March 27th. The release said that to ensure the annual national convention is held in accordance with the party's constitution, the national executive passed a resolution mandating a 7-member national convention planning and implementation committee 2023 to ensure that the annual national convention is held by the 27th of June. The release concluded that the national executive of the PLP is in high spirits and is quite optimistic that the upcoming national executive will fulfill the mandate of the party to rebuild stronger and better. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline. Police are investigating a shooting incident at Stapleton Village that resulted in the death of 2 young men. According to police, investigations have revealed so far that a group of men were playing cards in a yard when a lone gunman wearing a hoodie entered the yard and opened fire on them. 2 of the men were shot and a 3rd man sustained a broken leg in his attempt to escape. Dead are Jermaine Henry, age 35, of Stapleton Village, who died at the scene, and Denzel Edwards, 34, also of Stapleton Village, who died shortly after at the JNF hospital after being transported there by the EMS. This incident, according to police, occurred at about 2 a.m. on Saturday morning. The scene was processed by the crime scene unit and items of evidentiary value were collected. The police are seeking the assistance of the public by providing any information that will aid in their ongoing investigation. Persons can call the Stapleton Police Station at 465-2418 or the Violent Crime Unit at 467-1886, 467-1887, or 467-1888. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
It's beautiful. He took one look at you and the angels started singing.
Another wonderful day.
Ah!
What would you say about staying here for a few months or like a year, just so that we can be together again and just live and love and laugh and have fun and breathe?
Why are you hiding out on a little Caribbean island, singing in a beach bar?
When I came here, I was at peace, and I never left.
This is the beating heart of Nevis. This is what grounds me, what feeds my soul. It's where I found myself.
I hope your life here will be full of joy. Love this island, my son. She will give you more than you can imagine.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports. all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune into Voice of the Caribbean Radio for great Caribbean programs, news, entertainment, sports, and current affairs. Wake up each morning and be inspired with One Day at a Time with Kim Huey. Stay abreast with news across the Caribbean and internationally with the Caribbean News Hour, and be entertained with shows like Reggaeville, Caribbean Classics, and Jive Music Show. Visit our website, download our Android mobile app, or listen us on TuneIn Radio. There is so much more on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check website or app for program schedule.
St. Kitts and Nevis' Minister with responsibility for water services, Convis Maynard, called for concerted action to deal with water issues in member countries of the United Nations. Speaking at the historic UN Conference on Water 2023, Maynard said the government of St. Kitts and Nevis is taking action to address the pressing water issues in the country. He advised others not to wait until it's too late. He explained that as part of achieving the status as a successful, sustainable small island state, St. Kitts and Nevis has to address the matters of water, energy, and food.
It is our hope that a commitment to the Water Action Agenda will lead to accelerated implementation of the Water Action Decade 2018 to 2028, the 2030 Agenda, and its Sustainable Development Goal 6. St. Kitts and Nevis has never been daunted by immense challenges. In fact, we are prepared to leverage our small size as an advantage. St. Kitts and Nevis is small enough to do what we must, to be the best example of sustainability that the world has to offer, which is consistent with our vision to create a model, sustainable small island state. Therefore, St. Kitts and Nevis commits to aggressively implementing proactive and adaptive measures that will build capacity and resilience, guided by the principles of integrated water resource management. Important for us is the water, energy, food nexus, as we strive to return to 24-hour access to water by 2024, transition to 100% renewable energy sources by 2030 using solar, wind, and geothermal energy, and reduction of our food import bill by 25% by 2025 in the first instance. If we solve energy, then with energy, we solve water, and with water, we solve food.
The Ministry of Environment and Climate Action is also collaborating with Water Services to access funding for an important water project for the country. Glenn Bart reporting for SK Newsline.
The Charles E. Mills Secondary School won their 27th TDC Inter-School Track and Field Championship title, their 7th straight win, on Sunday, after amassing a total of 35 gold medals of the 66 medals they won over the 3-day competition. Principal of the Charles E. Mills Secondary School, Isha Jackson, said the team's victory comes from hard work and a well-developed sports program in the institution.
We are happy, we are excited, we are elated. Victory comes to hard work and dedication, and that is what the Charles E. Mills Eagles represent. Tonight, our victory is sweet. So many schools have tried to dethrone us, but they weren't successful because we have a program and we continue to work hard to ensure the success of our athletes.
She said the victory was also a tribute to longtime coach, the late Llewellyn Pike, who led the school to their last victory in 2019 before his passing.
Coach Pike was a coach extraordinaire. He was an educator extraordinaire. He would have made an indelible contribution over the years to the development of athletics at the Charles E. Mills Secondary School and the Sandy Point High School, not only as a coach and as a teacher, but as a student. We definitely do miss him, and this victory this year is for him. Coach Pike, we love you, we miss you, we honor your memory, we dedicate this victory to you.
President of SKN Athletics, Delwayne Delaney, was pleased with how the championships was organized and executed.
I'm back into planning mode, as you know, for next week. But at the same time, I'm very elated in terms of the performances that we saw, most of all. I think we had some real outstanding performances over the weekend, even surpassing a lot of their personal bests. The crowd engagement, the crowd turnout, again, was something I really enjoy. I was pleased to see that the masses came out in their numbers to support their schools, their alma maters, and just to enjoy a weekend of track and field.
Meanwhile, both Education Minister Dr. Jeffrey Hanley and Sports Minister Samuel Duggins had high praises for the championships.
Well, it was very heartwarming to see so many schools participating as usual, and the performance, in my estimation, I think from 2019 to now, you would have seen a vast improvement in the athletes, and I must commend the crowd. It was a massive crowd both on Saturday, but I think today really showed the real love that Kitishans and divisions have when it comes to athletics.
Well, from what I've seen today, because unfortunately I had to travel for the engagement, I got back this morning after 24 hours of traveling, but the excitement has kept me up all afternoon. And as you can see, it's pandemonium. The talent that's being displayed here, you can't ask for anything better. And so everything that I saw today, the athletes well in proper form. They did what they had to do on the track. Ultimately, Sams came out on top. Again, 27 years they've been doing this, and it speaks to the passion and the hard work and commitment that they've put into their craft. But I also want to take time and say congratulations to all the schools, because from what I've seen, everyone brought their A game. Sams just had a better way forward, and they came out on top.
So here are the results of the TDC Track and Field Inter-School Championships held on the weekend. Sams, of course, at the top with 66 medals, 35 gold, 19 silver and 12 bronze. The Charlestown Secondary School finished second with a total of 58 medals, 27 gold, 16 silver and 15 bronze. The Bassier High School finished third with 13 gold medals, 17 silver and 19 bronze, a total of 49 medals. The Virtuals High School was in fourth with 12 gold medals, 9 silver medals, 15 bronze medals, a total of 36 medals. The Sadler's Secondary School with 6 gold medals, 10 silver and 4 bronze, a total of 20 medals. The Gingerland Secondary School comes in next with 4 gold medals, 8 silver and 6 bronze, a total of 18 medals. The Washington Archibald High School had 2 gold medals, 9 silver and 12 bronze, 23 medals in total. The Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College comes in next with 2 gold medals, 7 silver and 4 bronze, a total of 13 medals. Also with 13 medals, the Keon High School, they had 2 gold, 5 silver and 6 bronze. Andrew Huey, SKN Newsline.
It's beautiful. He took one look at you and the angels started singing.
Another wonderful day.
What would you say about staying here for a few months or like a year, just so that we can be together again and just live and love and laugh and have fun and breathe?
Why are you hiding out on a little Caribbean island, singing in a beach bar?
When I came here, I was at peace, and I never left.
This is the beating heart of Nevis. This is what grounds me, what feeds my soul. It's where I found myself.
I hope your life here will be full of joy. Love this island, my son. She will give you more than you can imagine.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune into Voice of the Caribbean Radio for great Caribbean programs, news, entertainment, sports, and current affairs. Wake up each morning and be inspired with One Day at a Time with Kim Huey. Stay abreast with news across the Caribbean and internationally with the Caribbean News Hour, and be entertained with shows like Reggaeville, Caribbean Classics, and Jive Music Show. Visit our website, download our Android mobile app, or listen us on TuneIn Radio. There is so much more on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check website or app for program schedule.
Even in Pétionville, the last relatively safe haven in Port-au-Prince, people are abandoning their homes and fleeing. The lucky ones will end up in makeshift camps like Delma 19. The gangs invaded us, says Natasha Germain. I lost my husband and now I'm alone with 5 children. The camp is full, but the gangs continue to burn and drive people from their homes.
President of the United States of America.
In Ottawa, there were more signs the U.S. has given up trying to push Canada to intervene militarily.
That is not off the table, but that is not in play at the moment.
Instead, both leaders talked about helping Haiti's national police, with Trudeau announcing $100 million for the force. With the Haitian government barely functioning, it's going to be difficult to make sure the funding is spent as intended. And the money comes late in the game. Trudeau has been talking about helping and training Haiti's police for months, but little has been done, and the force has started to crumble under the pressure of killings.
If it had come earlier and had been done right, yes, there's lives that would have been saved.
While Haiti's police waited for new training, the head of training was murdered inside his own academy. This month, the Inspector General of Police was kidnapped along with his daughter as he dropped her at school.
Earlier would have been better, but it is what it is. So let's work from there.
This expert says it's now too late for Haiti's police to go it alone.
This thing has gone too far now. The national police is on the defensive. They are losing territory on a regular basis to the gangs, and they don't have the capacity, the manpower, and the strategic capacity to reverse this situation.
Before even rebuilding Haiti's police, everyone agrees it needs to be cleaned up, getting rid of perhaps half of its officers who are corrupt or tied to gangs. The good cops who remain will be even thinner on the ground and even more outgunned by gangs who clearly have the upper hand. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.
Remastering the message, leader of the opposition Mark Golding sought to deflate some of the tension that has resulted from what many perceive to be inappropriate and inflammatory recent comments from the PNP leader himself, as well as those directed towards him.
Comrades, trust me, I know how politics going on. Nigel Clark, I'm a friend to you know. Him, I'm a friend, I'm not telling a lie. Nigel Clark is my friend. And him kind of naive to the politics and him get himself in a little problem because he probably thought he was being clever, but him match certain con where people in Jamaica don't really like, because the truth is that we believe in tolerance and inclusion. Them say out of many one people.
The opposition leader concedes that his phrasing during a recent political meeting in Nannyville, after innuendo that his party had something to do with the technical challenges experienced during Prime Minister Andrew Holness's budget presentation, was also inappropriate.
I said something where we shouldn't say it that way, because I was just saying to myself, imagine when the people and public sector workers go on strike, they must have PNP put them up to it. Like them don't respect the public sector workers and the struggle that they are in. For anybody who, when I call, use a little damn fool talk, if I hurt anybody's feelings or anything, I'm sorry, never mean that. I was just pointing out how totally ridiculous it was.
Golding also commented on misinformation circulating on social media about his familial connections to historic slave ownership.
And this argument about my family tree, you see them afloat some family tree on the internet, some bogus document saying my people are slave owners. Not go so.
Joel Crosskill, CVM Live.
Despite the devastation.
Yes, I actually was born on this street here, a few houses down, and I grew up over here.
LeBryant Knight knows exactly where everything was.
Well, houses, this was a store, this was the neighborhood laundromat, this is where people paid their bills.
Knight took shelter in his mom's room in their town of Rolling Fork with her, his nieces, and nephew as the storm hit around 8 p.m.
Debris flying, hitting us in the face. I just covered them, grabbed them, and was hoping we didn't fly away. But as soon as I say that, 10 seconds later, everything was over.
Over for Rolling Fork, but that was just the beginning of the storm's devastation, tearing across the state, hitting one community after another for an hour, then forming another devastating tornado more than 250 kilometers away from where it started. This was inside the Amory High School as the storm blasted above. Experts say a tornado lasting that long is exceedingly rare.
It was some of the most frightening radar images I've seen. Each storm is unique, but on average, 10 minutes is the time it's on the ground. So this is unusual.
The storm hit some of the state's poorest areas.
If you're in the path, it's a danger. And if you don't have good housing, it's a real danger.
The death toll so far, more than 24, including Robert Lee.
Kind person, very bubbly spirit, outgoing, wonderful teacher.
Along with grieving, thoughts of what comes next.
We won't forget it, but we will get back to a normal state, hopefully.
A long process for many, as the year's tornado season is just beginning. Susanna Da Silva, CBC News, Vancouver.
Israel's months-long political crisis intensified on Sunday. Protesters blocked a major highway and set fires in Tel Aviv. In Jerusalem, they broke through the barricades around Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's residence. Netanyahu's firing of Defense Minister Yoav Gallant gave the opposition to a judicial overhaul new momentum. Gallant was the first senior member of Netanyahu's Likud party to express concerns about the effect the protests were having on national security. He tweeted, "The security of the state of Israel has always been and will always remain my life's mission."
That the game is not over yet, and we are heading towards Israel's worst political and judicial crisis. I think that it will end in a head-on collision between the government and the Knesset on one hand and the judiciary.
The Israeli military raised its alert level. Netanyahu didn't speak publicly, but he tweeted, "We must all stand up strongly against refusals." The judicial overhaul would give politicians the final say in appointing judges and allow Parliament to override Supreme Court decisions with a simple majority. Netanyahu says it will strengthen democracy and balance the courts. Critics say the reforms will erode Israel's democracy. The Attorney General says Netanyahu should not be participating in discussions of judicial reform while he's on trial for corruption.
The judicial, you call it reform, it's a coup, it's a judicial vandalism of the checks and balances of any democracy. And what we see as a result in the street is authentic, is genuine, is spontaneous.
Shortly after Gallant was fired, Israel's Consul General in New York resigned. The Knesset was supposed to vote on the judicial overhaul on Wednesday, but there's mounting pressure for Netanyahu to compromise. Protest leaders are calling for a demonstration in front of the Knesset on Monday. About 24 local council leaders are staging a hunger strike in front of the Prime Minister's office. University classes are canceled. Several dozen doctors have called in sick in protest, and there's talk of a workers' union holding a strike. A senior member of the governing coalition says Netanyahu has made a strategic mistake. Natasha Ganem, Al Jazeera in occupied East Jerusalem.
The toss has been the deciding factor over the first two games of the series, with the team chasing coming out on top. South Africa's captain Aidan Markram won the toss and sent the West Indies into bat, with Johnson Charles smashing 118 from 41 balls that included 11 sixes and 10 fours, along with 51 from Kyle Myers and Romario Shepherd's unbeaten 41, helping the West Indies to 258 for 5 from their 20 overs. The host weren't deterred by that total and went after the West Indies attack. Quinton de Kock hit an even 100 as he and Reza Hendricks 68 put on 152 for the first wicket. As South Africa won by 6 wickets, completing the largest chase in T20 internationals. Speaking after the game, Johnson Charles said today's game was not something out of the ordinary for him.
I could recall just a couple of months ago where we played in the Bangladesh Premier League, and I was on the winning end where we had to chase 216 runs. So like you said, I've seen it, I've been through it, so I know how it feels. But still, being on the losing end, you will feel disappointed. And like I said in the interview before we went out for the second half, we got to that point, so we expect that they can get to that point. It's all about us now preventing them from getting to that point. And, unfortunately, we were on the losing end, but going forward, we'll